Hopefully we've fixed all the issues. Just to let you know, we had some lion tracks very close to our camp last night. Looked like those two Matimbas, so we're going to go back to that area and see if we can follow up on those tracks. And we'll just have a look what's on Djuma for the first bit of this morning. If we don't get any fresh tracks or anything to find, we might cross to Arathusa. But welcome on drive. I've got Brian with me on camera, and Andrew and Alex in FC. Unfortunately, we had to interrupt Alex's nap to come help us with our technical difficulties. Also, for this morning and for the next few weeks going on, for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's only going to be one vehicle out in the morning. And then from Thursday, Friday through to Sunday, there'll be two vehicles. It's just that we're a very small team and we just need to give everyone a break every now and then. So, hopefully you guys enjoy, and we can go find some lions. So we're quite far from where I had last had those tracks because we had to come up to the repeater. So I'm going to go a little bit quicker than I normally would in the beginning, just so I can get down to where we had tracks. Which is going to be the quickest way? I think we're going to take Rebecca's down to Philomon's and that should get us quite a bit closer to the tracks. Overcast morning. Looks a bit thicker than it was yesterday morning, but I do see some breakups, so I think the sun might break through a little bit later on drive. There are some nice gaps. Oh, this is where the male lions actually came down here, but I found their tracks further north. Ephraim coming. Morning, Ephraim. Hope you had a good evening. Was there any update on Nkahuma's last night? Okay, copy, thanks. What's your position at the moment? Okay, copy, yeah. I'm going to get onto those Ngalankonzo and follow them from this side. They were heading north towards Vuyatela Dam, but I'm going to check Weaver's Nest through to Twin Dams, and if nothing, then I'll cross to the northern side of the Morati. Copy. Sorry, Andrew, what animal is that? I copy, thanks very much. So the lines went down this way, but as I said, we're quite far behind them, so it's time for some educated guesswork. So I'm actually going to shoot further east and then north around, trying to predict where they're going to come up, because I think if we had to follow the tracks from where the last tracks we had, we're a bit behind them, so we need to try sort of second guess them. So this morning we're thinking like lions. Remember guys, if you have any questions, please send them through via email to questions@wildearth.tv, and or just use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Roy coming. There's tracks of those Nyoni heading south from Weaver's Nest towards Treehouse Dam. Copy, good luck. So those two male lions, when they do walk through, they seem to have not set routes, but they do stick to sort of general directions. So one of the last times when they came in from that side, they came down onto Twin Dams Road. So even from Gari Dam, they just went straight south. And then when we went past Gari Dam this morning, there were about 5 or 6 buffalo bulls that were looking far too relaxed for the lions to have passed them early this morning. So it's likely that these lions walked through here later last night. I'm going to check very carefully around here. Doesn't look like they came this way. So as I said, those tracks are probably from early last night. So we're gonna loop ahead again. Hopefully they haven't walked straight through onto Buffalo's Hook, but we will find out shortly. Andrew, maybe ask Mark to go out there. Mulwati Vulture's Nest, Yellow and South Junction. Welcome back, everyone. We just stumbled upon a young elephant bull. So he's eating a small acacia. Oh, itchy, yeah. Picking out those little flaky thorns in between. So, one of the reasons elephants are such an important cog in the ecosystem is they stop forestation, which can be a problem in the bush if you do not have the right amount of bulk grazers and feeders. So elephants stop the small thorny trees from taking over and from the grass. And grass is very important because the majority of animals eat grass. And as it gets drier, these elephants will be eating quite a lot of these small thorn trees that are just coming through the grass. Look, he's resting his head up against the knob thorn, completely oblivious to the thorns. But if you or I had to do that, we would be crying in pain at the moment. Very sharp hooked thorns on that knob thorn that he's got his head up against. So guys, I'm not going to spend too much time with him now. I really need to try to get back on those lion tracks. but we know where he is, so if they do cross out, we'll come back. And with the young bull hanging around here, there's a possibility that there is a breeding herd around as well. Hello, little man. There's tracks of a bigger herd of elephants moving through into the block. Definitely something I'm going to have a look for a little bit later. We want to be on the tracks though while they're as fresh as possible. The longer we leave the tracks, the more chance we don't find those lions. Morning, Franklin. Let's have a panic in the road. There you go. Most upset with us. Andrew coming. Maybe send Alex a WhatsApp and get someone to put those other two batteries on charge attached to Jigger. Maybe you can shoot down there quickly and we can survive for 5-10 minutes without you. Pearl spotted owl. Guys, I heard a testicular alarm calling, and I just saw this little bird fly across, and it's a little pearl spotted owlet. So it is a tiny little owlet. Very pretty. Hopefully he turns his head now. We can have a look at his face. But you see all the little white spots on his body. That's where he gets the name of pearl spotted owlet. There we go. He's looking at us now. And you can hear all the testiculars around, alarm calling, because he is a little predator, although it's very unlikely. Only a few of the Scops owlets or Scops owls are smaller than the pearl spotted. Not much bigger than a dove. And you hear them calling very, very often in the early evening. Very territorial. I'm not going to do the call while we've got one so close to us. It tends to stress them out. They look thinking there's another male coming into their area, into their territory, and they tend to want to fight with you. But if someone reminds me later on in the drive, when we're away from him, I'll play the call for you. No, you can't really see them there, but you can see on the right hand side that dark patch is one of the false eyes. But he's all fluffed up and ruffled because it's a bit chilly this morning. You can sort of see the one false eye, the left one. Oh, thank you, sir. Puffed up, a bit chilly this morning. What that does, it lets the air into the feathers between the skin, and then it warms up that air and it traps it between the feathers and the body and creates like a little insulative blanket for him. Oh, the light's very difficult, but I'm going to try get a snap. Oh, a little bit lighter. So difficult taking a photograph with that sort of white wall and with the owlet sitting in the dark almost. Oh, one or two of those might work. One more while he's looking at us. Oh. Quite nice to see them during the day. Having a little clean. Oh, scratch, scratch. There we go. You can see that. You can see that fake eye a little bit better there. Hopefully, he turns his head around again shortly, and we can have a good look at the fake eye. This is a fantastic sighting of one. Normally you don't get them for this long. You can see that flattened and lighter colored area around his eyes and how large his eyes are. And that flattened lighter colored area is to help with the night vision. Okay, I just heard from Ephraim over the radio. Not the best news. Oh, there he goes. Well, I think that's our cue. And unfortunately, the tracks of those two male lions have crossed out into Buffalo's Hook, which is very disappointing. So, I'm trying to think, where should we go check next? Let's go see if we can find some leopard tracks. With the signal this morning. So unfortunately, I just heard over the radio that those lions have crossed out to Buffalo's Hook. So we're going to head back towards that where that elephant was, have a look at him, see if we can listen and hear possibly a bigger breeding herd in the area. Okay, so that eddy was just around the corner here. Hopefully he hasn't moved off too far. I don't think so. It doesn't look like he was feeding or moving in a hurry. Oh, there's some fresh dung. I think we're on the right track. There he is. He's climbed on top of a termite mound. Where are you off to now? He's slowly walking off with some thick bush, unfortunately. Maybe we should copy him, climb to the top of the termite mound, see if we can see him up there. Can you see him? Right in this thick stuff here. You can just make out his tusk. I can just see the white of his tusk through the thick. Oh dear. Okay, well he's clearly not in a spot where we can view him nicely. So I'm just going to go around the other side. Maybe we'll catch up with the tracks of that breeding herd. Have a look at this branch here. Lots of them all around. Okay. Let's try and get out of this low area that seems to be causing lots of signal issues. So we might break up and go through a riverbed now. I'm just going to go through quickly, so hopefully on the other side there's better signal.
Hello everyone. Being out in the bush and being out there live has its technical...
Good morning, Judy. Welcome on Drive. Thanks very much for that little bit of information. Judy says we're experiencing one of the largest sun flares in years, and it's supposed to cause lots of trouble with communications and things like that. So maybe that's the reason we're having such trouble with our signal this morning. Just going to move forward a little bit. Oh, that female looks quite, the one on the right looks very pregnant. It's actually very difficult to tell when a zebra is in bad condition by looking at their body shape, because, and also another animal that's like that is rhino, because they are hind gut fermenters, so they're not ruminants. So basically they create a lot of gas, so that's why their stomachs always look so round and fat, and most of it's gas. And if you spend a lot of time with the zebra herd, you'll also find they're probably one of the most flatulent animals in the bush, especially when they start running. I don't know if anyone heard that branch breaking. It was actually a zebra just having a scratch. Should we try and go forward a little bit? See what those two are up to. That one's having a good... Oh, they're going to look like they're about to fight. Zebras can actually be incredibly violent animals, especially the stallions. They bite and kick. I've actually seen them kill foals before. So who can tell me how many species of zebra there are in Africa? you can send your answers to questions at wildearth.tv or just use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Another interesting thing, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the quagga, which is an extinct zebra species from South Africa. But on doing genetics, and I've actually you see where the stripes don't add up on that one? In the middle of its body. Just zoom in on there. I just want to have a closer look to see if it's... No, it's natural, that one. Sometimes you'll see where stripes don't add up. It could be a scar from lions on them, or sometimes more often from another zebra, from a bite. So as I was saying, it's quite difficult to tell when a zebra is not in good condition. The most distinct Brian and I were just discussing it. We're definitely going to have to go read up more about solar flares when we get back to camp today. So I know people have asked quite a few times why that zebras haven't been domesticated like horses or donkeys. And the thing is that it's taken many, many years of domestication for horses and donkeys to build certain attributes that makes them good domestic animals. Zebras have a very weak back and very little stamina, which is the main reason why they're very difficult, or they're not very good as domestic species, and also they're very difficult to domesticate, with most of them dying within the first couple of months of the attempt of being domesticated. There was a group that were domesticated that used to be run as donkey carts from an area to the northwest of us here, down into the low veld. And the reason for this being that in the old days this was tsetse fly country. So if you brought any oxen that weren't salted or horses that weren't salted, they would die very quickly from sleeping sickness. When I refer to salted animals, it means animals that have had sleeping sickness and recovered from it, and then are therefore immune afterwards. And oxen and horses that had been salted were worth sometimes 5 to 10 times more than animals that hadn't, just because you were able to use them in areas where the tsetse fly lived, which was most of the low velds of South Africa and northern Zululand as well. We just couldn't get a stable signal there, so we at Gari Dam, And we have a buffalo bull who's only got one horn. And there's 3 others. One is lying flat, which you don't see too often.
Had a heavy night.
Yeah, looks like he had a very heavy night. He must be affected by the solar flare. Very sensitive buffalo. So, Andrew, come in. Are there any answers yet on how many zebra species in Africa? Katrina says 3. There's a couple of 9s, 3s. At the moment, officially, there are 4. Did anyone get 4? Reds is the closest. At the moment, there's a bit of contention on whether Hartman's mountain zebra is different from Cape mountain zebra, because there's quite a big space between where they occur. The Hartman's mountain zebra is in Namibia, and the Cape mountain zebra is in South Africa. With the plain zebra, the Birchall zebra, almost all of them are subspecies, so there's just put them all into one. And then Gravies is the other species, and it's much bigger than our zebra, and the stripes are more fine, and they don't have any shadow stripes, and they occur from northern Kenya into, and it's the most common, easiest place to see them is northern Kenya. So just behind the buffalo there's a blacksmith lapwing. Oh, let's take this chance now that we've got a bit better signal and we're further away from that. And we're further away from the, and we're not next to we're not next to the pearl spotted owlet anymore. Let me just have a look if I can find his call here. Oh, so I don't know if you guys can hear that. Andrew, can you hear that? So that's the pearl spotted owlets calling. So if I'd played this close to that owl this morning, probably would have got quite upset if it was a male, and very confused if it was a female. Well, a grey heron just landed on the dead knobthorn. Andrew, come in. Confirm I've got a bit more space to roam now. Oh yeah, copy. Thanks. Brian, it looks like a malachite kingfisher. I can't really see with the lights, just landed. You see that log right on the edge?
Yeah.
Alex, maybe just stay there for a little bit, because last time when we rebooted this morning, it went down again after about 15 minutes after we left. Copy, thanks. Oh no, that's the woodlands kingfisher. If we come down onto this branch on the edge of the water, to the left, there we go. Oh, is that a half-collared kingfisher? That would be... I think it is a malachite though. Let's have a look at that. Let's have a closer look. Oh. A tiny but very pretty little kingfisher. Where's he? He's just behind there. He should pop out again. See what colour his bill is. There we go. It actually looks like a juvenile malachite kingfisher. Just have a look on the camera and get a look. It's a juvenile malachite kingfisher. I'm going to try sneak a little bit closer. Yeah, definitely a juvenile malachite. So it threw me off in the beginning. I thought, well, maybe it'd be very rare to find a half-coloured here. They prefer sort of flowing water and little streams. Oh. So here's one of the Pescavorian kingfishers, unlike a woodlands. He's so little, it's so hard to get closer to him. Oh, Woodland's having a drink behind him. I'm going to try sneak a little bit closer. I don't think we're going to be able to get much closer than this without him flying off. Very pretty. Even as a juvenile, his colours are a bit more drab than the adult. Hasn't quite got that electric blue yet. I hear just some squirrels and Franklin alarming behind me. I'm going to have a quick look, and I'm pretty sure he should still be around when we get back. More than likely, they're alarming at that pair of Wahlberg's eagles that lives around here, but it's always good to check. Who knows, the Queen might be visiting the lodge. One morning while we were all out, a leopard walked right past FC, and we were all miles away. And that squirrel sounds suitably upset that it could be something. Try to see where the squirrel is and which way it's looking. You see the squirrel, huh? Another squirrel alarming down there. Let's check on the other side of the dam, you never know. No, it's very upset. Okay, I've got the squirrel. Seems to be looking that way. Wonder what it's seeing. This snake we can't see. Or slender mongoose. Steering almost into the ground here. Right here, eh? Looks like.
Maybe in this tree.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Maybe there might be a snake in the tree.
Didn't hear what was it.
Are we sure all the sound is correct?
Yeah, it is.
Hey, firm. He's getting even more upset. Just gonna sit here for a few minutes, guys. Half expect to see a leopard walking down towards us. This amount of noise. Can't see any birds of prey. Frank and throwing their 3 cents in as well. No idea what it is, guys. Probably a mongoose or a snake that we just can't see. Oh man, I can't. It's just too much noise not to investigate, even if it is a snake. can't see anything. Let's see if that little kingfisher is still around. Looks like he is still around. He's just quite far away now. He's on the opposite bank. But I got him out here. So number 1. You can see the juvenile. He's somewhere between these two at the moment, that guy. That's what the adult looks like. Very, very pretty. And that's what this one was, sort of between the two. Even they're still a very pretty bird. Oh, there's a little terrapin head popping out to our left. Oh, we've gone under. Oh, woodlands. I can actually see 1, 2, 3 woodlands at the moment. Oh, the flies are bad down here. What's that? Has he got something in his beak there?
He's got a big treat.
He's like a big grasshopper. Turn your head so I can see what's in your mouth. Looks like a big katydid or grasshopper. So it definitely looks like a katydid, one of those very big green grasshoppers. He turns his head again. If I can get a sharp picture, I can show you on the back of the camera. It should be quite a little bit dark. Can't really see it in the picture. So for those who weren't with us when we started bright and early this morning, for now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's only going to be one vehicle out in the morning, and then Thursday, Friday through to Sunday, it'll be two vehicles out both morning and afternoon. There's another squirrel alarm calling, probably chasing more ghosts, but let's go see. Franklin's. Oh, it's gone. Welcome back. No, you didn't. A very pretty little robber fly landed on that vehicle, but didn't stay very long. So what we're going to do is we're going to check around the edge of the dam. No one's been here yet this morning. And who knows, we might get lucky with some tracks. Lots of flies thanks to the buffalo. Really irritating because they land on your lip, your nose, and your ear.
No, it's not pleasant.
No. Oh, you can't see me slapping myself. first, see if we can lose a few. No? They're faster and smarter than us, it seems. Okay, one more. Okay. Don't see them on my steering wheel anymore. Ah.
Still there.
Still there. So, in the morning we found quarantine mail, for those of you who are watching. We were looking at this tree. Let me just... Remember, it's got the one hooked thorn and the one spiked thorn, and the leaves are edible. Can be used in salad. So I'm going to see who can remember what is the name of this tree. You can send your answers through to questions@wildearth.tv, or just use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. And in the meantime, I'm going to have a snack of what tree's leaves. Yum, yum, yum.
What does it taste like?
There we go.
I know what it tastes like.
Doesn't taste like anything, to be honest.
It's like a strange apple to me.
Tastes like, yeah. Actually, that's a good description. Oh. Well, we're looking at plants that are edible. Did you get that one from here, or would I need to?
A little bit more side on. Yeah, there we go.
So, sorry, just... So that is quite an interesting plant. Sorry guys, just need to answer the radio quickly. Sean coming? Yeah, I think the densite that's active at the moment is Zoe's Rebecca's. Negative, near the big Balanites tree, at the junction Balanites, Zoe's Rebecca's. So, it's got quite an interesting name. It's called the mother-in-law's tongue, is its common name. And that, let me just go again with the name, please. Delray, Rick, Valerie. Just the three of you guys got it right, and that is correct. It is a buffalo thorn. Karina also got it right. So, the interesting thing about mother-in-law's tongue, it is a succulent. So you can actually get water out of the roots when you're stuck out in the bush having to survive. You can also eat the pulp for the water as well as a bit of sustenance, quite high in starch. You can make rope from the leaves, so it's quite good for making little snares if you had to survive out here. Making snares if you had to survive out here. Let me just find what else. I can't remember all the uses for it, but I know there are quite a lot. Let me just get out my indigenous healing plants. Mother-in-law's tongue, 130. There we go. Well, there we go. One of the best known traditional uses of mother-in-law's tongue is the treatment of earache. A leaf is cut and heated, and the juice is dripped into a teaspoon and then dropped gently into the ear. A piece of warm leaf is held behind the ear as well till the pain subsides. Some tribes also use the leaf for toothache. And the root that we're talking about, that can be eaten raw, is sometimes boiled in water or with milk, and is used as a treatment, made into a tea and then used as a treatment for piles. It is also used as the root eaten raw is used as a treatment for intestinal worms like tapeworms. And also in Tswana culture, 2 tablespoons of chopped root boiled in a liter of water for 10 minutes, then strained and cooled, is used as a prevention for miscarriage. It's also said they cook the root with other vegetables, and then it's just used as sort of a general painkiller for the elderly that are in pain. Oh, it's also got the same as the gwari, which is the magic gwari we get here. The Zulu and Tswana consider it a protective plant, so they drink a little of a cold infusion to protect themselves against lightning. Or if anyone has been bewitched by bad magic, you drink some of tea made from mother-in-law's tongue. And there we go, the other uses outside the medicinal. So I said you can make a very strong, durable string or rope. It's made for making baskets, mats, binding fractures in humans, in traditional medicine. Also making fishing nets. Oh, very interesting. I learned something new about mother-in-law's tongue myself.
Oh, I've never known about mother-in-law's tongue.
As far as I remember, I knew it was used medicinally, but I knew it as a sort of a survival plant that you could get water from, you can eat it, and you can make rope from it and string. Good morning, Vicky from Texas. Yes, you're correct. It's been exported out of Africa as a houseplant. There's about 7 or 8 different varieties of mother-in-law's tongue that are readily available throughout the world as garden plants. zoom in on these. So this is a terminalia, or a silver cluster leaf. It's actually one of my favorite trees when they're big. They're very, very beautiful. So, let me see. Maybe. Ah, Franklin. Let me have a look. So, these are quite interesting. This is actually dead now. And this has actually been finished being used. Much easier if I put it down where it's easy for everyone to see and me to explain about. So, this is not a natural part of the plant. And you can almost see, it looks like little individual holes in there, which it is. So what happens is, Terminalia and certain species of acacias, there's certain species of ants and wasps called gall wasps or gall ants. And what they do is they sting certain tree species, and it causes these tree species to produce a growth hormone, which for the life of me I can't remember. It begins with a G. I can remember that. And what that does is this, so the tree produces this really hard thing, and it grows extensively in this area. And then what they do is they lay their eggs inside this gall, as it's called, where it's very, very strong and the wood's really hard. And this is old now, so, and then basically they then fabricate these little nest areas for them, and it provides the larvae and the eggs for a very safe place to germinate from. Not germinate's the wrong word. Hatch from. Sorry, it's the correct word. So that's quite interesting. So, and there will be different species of ants and wasps that are specific to different tree species. But terminalias have quite a few different types that do that. Gee, blah blah blah. I just can't remember the name of that growth hormone trees produce. Oh. Have a look at that. Yeah. From coming. Oh, there's a brown stake eagle just flying across our bow. From coming. Has any station checked Buffelshoek towards Sydney's? Copy, okay. I'm going to head a little bit further west, see if we get any luck up towards Sydney's Dam. morning, Raj from India. I'm going to hand you over to the wildlife cameraman to answer that question.
I can't even answer that question because I'm a 3D animator by trade.
Raj, I think it takes passion and patience to be probably the two most important things.
As long as you enjoy doing the way to get out there.
I think there are courses and stuff. I'm not sure of any that are actually active at the moment. Assistant. Basically, as I was saying, you would have to the most common way is to start off as a camera assistant, which is basically means the cameraman's dog's body. You charge batteries, carry tripods, just basically do anything that needs to be done, all the not so nice jobs, and then slowly you would gain experience on the camera till the point that you could sort of start filming on your own. I don't think there's any one way. I think there's lots of different ways that people have ended up in becoming wildlife cameramen. So we're taking a bit of a gamble at the moment. So apparently the Djuma's crossed into Manuleti yesterday at some point, right near the entrance gate to the Sabi Sands. So I'm just going to take a slow drive up towards that area, see if we have any tracks. And no one else has driven here yet this morning, so no one has checked that area yet. Yeah, cloud's not really breaking up yet. Still quite thick cover. There is some breakup to the east. I think it's going to take a bit longer than I initially suspected. Oh, there you go. Oh, there's even more now. Where are they coming from? Oh, this is actually intense. I don't think this is the most we've ever had in the last while. Buffalo and go drop them off.
Yeah. Copy out, turn around now. Flies.
Well, I think it's because there's really quite a lot of impala and wildebeest around here, and now today there are none. So they decided that we're the next best thing. Oh, she knows. Sorry, go again. We'll go check Impala Plains. Maybe something happening that side. Well, the leopards are being very scarce at the moment. We're not even seeing any tracks. Well, it seems like the solar flare must have died down. Nice and cool morning, and our signal seems to be a bit better. We're gonna go try check the hyena den quickly. Nice cool morning. Welcome back, guys. Maybe another little sun flare there. It's amazing, as we're driving you can see that the combretums are starting to go yellow already, which is quite early. Definitely one of my favorite times in the bush, as it starts getting drier. My favorite time in the bush, sort of end of October, beginning of November, where it's hot as Hades, dry as a bone, but the game viewing is just spectacular. Animals are so reliant on what water points there are. The predators are much easier to track and find. And also you've just got so much more visibility. Any station, Nisikaya, Zoe's, Rebecca's. And there's a cub out as well, and another cub coming out. Aha! So here comes the answer. This is not the one female we normally see feeding the single. In fact, I'm just going to reposition so my head's not in the way. Feeding the single youngster. It is a different female who's feeding both the younger cubs. And Scott and I were chatting. We don't actually see this female feeding that often. We normally see see the female of the single cub feeding. They are so cute. Isn't this nice? Mnisikaya Zoe's Rebecca's is active. 3 Mampimpan, 1 adult. Very peaceful scene here at the den. The little one at the back is actually grooming. Right. It's actually a very sweet picture. Nuzzle forward towards the teats. Mom, stop licking me, I'm trying to drink. Here we go. Very attentive mothers, hyenas. Looks like he's enjoying that, or she's enjoying that. Oh, we've got a little bit more curious. That youngster looks to be thoroughly enjoying that as well. Good morning, Shanae. Welcome. Shanae is referring to a movie made, I think it was in the 80s, called Shaka Zulu, about the Zulu king. And in that movie, the hyenas had a very close relationship with the witch doctor, the Sangoma. And she'd like to know, do they feature prominently in African folklore? And to answer your question, Sinead, they do very, very prominently. They are associated with black or dark magic, evil witches, because you have good witches and evil witches in African folklore. Evil witches use them as their servants, and they're the pets. Witches are said to ride on the backs of hyenas. In Zambia, they said to the witches who keep hyenas mark their ears with specific patterns. But generally, owls and hyenas all feature on the bad side of African folklore and all dark magic. It's called lots of different things depending on where you are in Africa. In this area, it's called Tagati. Further north in Botswana, it's called Maloi. But all of it is that sort of bad, dark magic. I know of a case in Zambia where there was a bout of man-eating by hyenas, and that was all blamed on a certain witch. And it was said that as soon as you would start trying to track the hyenas to find them and kill them, the tracks would go from hyena to human. And shape-shifting is quite common in a lot of cultures throughout the world. But lions and man-eating lions, hyenas, leopards are said to normally be shapeshifters that can change into a human and hide in plain sight. A very funny occurrence. I'm not going to say exactly who or what or when. Or I'll say when. It was in probably the late 50s in southern Tanzania, during the developments of one of the national parks. The then British government was trying to convince certain villages to move out of an area that would be within the new national park or the new park, and the villagers were not keen on moving at all. And the state vet and the local sort of game warden, I think they must have been having a few toots when they came up with this plan. decided to darted a hyena, and they put a pair of khaki pants on it, and then they released it near the villages, and those villages were packed up and gone within 5 days. There was serious bad magic if there was a hyena that was wearing clothes in that area, and they all moved out of where the national park was supposed to be. Actually, it was quite a prominent figure in East Africa, in Tanzania at the time. Quite a well-known figure who did that. But wherever you have bouts of man-eating by predators, generally witchcraft will be worked into it. There's quite a famous man-eater from quite recently, I think the early 2000s, from the Selous Game Reserve in Tanzania, who was taking people outside of the reserve, out of their houses, while they were working on the fields, and he was considered to be a shapeshifter, and he got the nickname Osama after Osama bin Laden, but he was eventually shot by government officials, and it was a young male lion. Oh. Good morning, Tammy. Welcome. Tammy would like to know, or says it looked like the older cub was trying to get a sneak at the nipple there and get a suckle. And would it be possible for a cub to convince a mother that it should be able to feed, even if it's not its cub? Not with hyenas, Tammy. As you can see, as soon as she thought it was getting a bit too close, she chased it off.
You think 2 of these are hers?
Yeah, those 2 are definitely hers. It's the slightly bigger one that's not. That's the female with the really tatty ears, and that sort of almost like lightning or like scar on her back that looks like maybe from lions. That's the mother of the older cub. This is actually the first time I've seen this one at the den. Good morning, Charlene from Minnesota. Charlene would like to know how Charlie would like to know how old hyena cubs are when they stop suckling and move on to solid food. Hyenas are quite unusual in the fact that they will nurse for a much longer time than most predators. Up to about 7 or 8 months, they are still almost completely dependent on mother's milk and eat very little meat. But they do eat a little bit beforehand, more sort of just chewing on bones and stuff like that. But they have been known to suckle up to over a year. But by that stage, they are more sort of reliant on actual meat. Now they're normally completely weaned by about 12 to 14 months. King of the castle. Well guys, thanks for joining us this morning. I do apologize for the technical difficulties we've been having, but probably it's the solar flares because we can't really figure out what else it could be. Alex even went back up to the repeater to check again, but it seemed to got better as the mornings progressed. So thanks very much for joining us from Brian, myself, and Andrew and FC, and Alex and Mark, who had to get out of bed on their morning off to go have a look at the repeater. We really appreciate it, and thanks very much, and hopefully we'll see you all this afternoon. So have a good evening or morning or day wherever you might be in the world. Cheers.